Hey everybody, welcome to the studio. I'm Christine Lashley and this is my kitty Caspian. And we do a lot of larger pieces here on the easel in the studio. Usually on location I do smaller pieces. Making large art is a really great way to get some big bold passages going. I have two favorite ways of making a bigger painting and I'd love to share the process with you. The two main ways to create a painting are basically this. One is more traditional and classic. You can take a small study, such as this one that I did, to make a big painting of the scene you just saw. And the second way is to just kind of go crazy with paint. I'm going to show you examples of the two different ways and some paintings that I made from both of those methods. And I think it will give you some ideas on how to take your work large. But first, let's examine it, just a few pitfalls that can happen. It's not all smooth sailing in the studio. Paintings have issues, but there's ways to work through it. Large art can have some pitfalls, let's face it. And I think I have some unique solutions. I know this because I've made a lot of mistakes when I created big art. Things got too colorful, I got frustrated with it. I would look at it up close and then from farther away, it didn't seem to say what I wanted it to say. So these are all different things that I've experienced. And I ended up making a lot of mistakes and having to repaint a lot of things. The methods I'm going to share with you have really worked time and time again. I'm not saying that every painting is perfect and it goes seamlessly because all paintings kind of have their own journey. But that's typical of art. You have to tailor it to what suits you and also try new things. To avoid color being too bright or garish or taking over the painting, quite simply add a bit more gray than you think and really work on some subtle color transitions. If I mix a green color for my painting, this is cobalt and cadmium yellow, the bright color might not have a place on my painting. This is what I mean by adding a gray to kind of control some of the mixture of the painting. If I add it in this section of the painting, you can see it just looks too strident and it doesn't really sit within the soft tones of the painting. I might have to, in fact, add a bit of cool color, or this, in this case, it's a alizarin crimson permanent color, and possibly white, which would act as a graying tone for this painting. And then when we put this color in position, it's going to sit better and possibly even be able to mix with what I have already on the canvas. Oh, that green is still going crazy. There we go. That sits a little bit better if I wanted to try a darker green for that. So be careful of your color and don't have it get too brilliant. It's one of the reasons that I was really excited to try working on this painting is to be really mindful of my grays as I took my painting larger. A problem with a lot of my cityscape paintings is that the color can be extra bright. And again, making sure I incorporate gray and building a really strong and purposeful value system is a really helpful way of staying in control as the painting gets larger in size. Stepping back, of course, is a great way to double check your work, and also taking a photo with your phone or possibly checking your painting in a mirror. So try all of those techniques just to stay on track. Make sure that the size as you go larger isn't taking over and skewing how you see your painting. Let's look at some past examples of mine with a clear-cut process. Method one, which is more of a traditional way of painting, scale everything up and get the shapes where you want them. Here I took the idea of a hilltop view of Paris and I brought together a collection of my photos on different trips, plus some small paintings that I'd done in preparation for making some bigger artwork from this material. Starting with lines, starting with drawing is a great way to start a larger painting. Then I work in the masses, and finally, it's important to know, especially with big art, that there can be an awkward stage of the painting, and truthfully, this can last for quite a while, or maybe it's just an afternoon or a day. So if you just prepare for the part where things aren't quite sitting right, lean into the, okay, this is happening, this is the funky middle area, and we're going to push through to the other side, which is the finish. I was happy with how this 24 by 48 painting came out. Another trick, if you're in that funky middle stage with your large artwork, is to actually make another painting. So I do like working in a series. Maybe if one painting isn't working, I might grab another canvas. And it doesn't have to be another large one, but maybe just make another painting to just set that big one aside. You don't want too much riding on that big one. Deadlines, pressure to create, those are all potential sabotage points. So having multiple paintings working can just be kind of like hitting the refresh button and say, oh, right, art is fun. That's what we're here to do. So now we get to the second main way of creating a painting. And this is my favorite way to work. And I usually start most of my paintings like this, whether they're big or small. I'll show you all of that in my next series of video snippets. They have been fast forwarded because it did take a while. It took most of the day. And what I do is I start usually with the V of the sky. I don't worry about perspective. I just channel, is it a V shape? Is it a U shape? And let's just kind of blast in a dark to mid blue, because I know the buildings themselves in a twilight scene are probably going to be dark. And then I want a smaller chain of lights. During the blob and chaos creation, even if I cross over into that, oops, I did too much stage, I know that I could rein that back with wiping out. Now I do work with water mixable oil. So water mixable oils will do just that. They clean up with water. They're solvent in water and they flow with water. I thought I would mention that during this part of the video because there's a lot of drips going on and studio safety is really important to me for health reasons. I don't like to use solvent. You can find more information about that and on my process on my website, where I list all of the supplies that I use. By the way, if you're new to my channel, thanks for being here. And I'd love it if you could like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm know that you found this content useful. One of the reasons I love the amorphous and blob shapes that I'm creating is that there always seems like there's some potential. Even when I cross over into doing too much, I can pull that back. Usually I know by this time, a painting will in fact get, I would say, about 20% too dark. That's because most of the painting has been done with transparent washes. That's right, I don't really use a lot of opaque paint in this early stage where I'm building kind of the armature of the painting. But yes, I use that white of the canvas to kind of create a luminosity. And when I'm doing this shaggy blob painting and making a mess, making a happy mess, it's really exciting because I feel like there's always potential. I don't feel locked into a specific shape. Let's take a look at how this night painting of Paris turned out for the finish. I was really happy with the sense of glow and light, and we can see it in the gallery for a sense of scale on how big that painting really is. I felt like it really anchored that wall and provided a big pop of color. Now we're going to take a look at another painting and hear why this kind of non-linear blob approach might work for you. At a certain point, I have to get on with the job, which is making the painting. So I do have to make a commitment. But because I've tried out sometimes many solutions for, let's say, a roof line or layers of color, I go quickly through a series of options and then I can basically step away from the painting because the painting has helped me find the solution of where I want to go. This is a way of actually working with the painting instead of fighting it the whole way. Because I used to do gridding and sight size and very methodical ways of painting. And this way of just slapping on paint and letting it fly around and having a lot of wow moments on the canvas has just been so much fun. It makes me want to paint every day. I have some recent studies that I created in Paris. We can see them here. My idea is to make these up into a painting and find my way on this 30 by 40 canvas that I have behind me. So already in my head, I have kind of some ratios figured out that is going to work well with this twilight design and glowing lights, this chain of light happening and the V of the sky. Also in this small study where I have a scatter pattern of light, but it almost looks like it's a ribbon of light. And we see this one has a U shape of the sky. If we look at the size, it really lends itself pretty well to scaling up and fitting right on this 30 by 40 canvas. I'm really excited to start my project. So I would say that's absolutely a must, is to be excited about where your project is going. Remember, when starting a big painting, it's just like making a small one, but you have to figure out how to cover the inches on the canvas in the way that works best for you. So I have my study here and I'm going to get my new project started and we'll see where it goes. I'd love to hear what you think about this tutorial and the peek behind the scenes at how I make a painting. Go ahead and share with me in the comments section how you like to start a painting, and maybe some of my ideas helped you out on trying something new.